I mean, every year the Dubai Fitness Challenge comes around, and it's such an unbelievable kind of opportunity for just getting people active. I think people always need that kickstart, that point in the year, just to give themselves a little bit of motivation. Obviously, New Year's resolutions are one, leading up to holidays, summers, that type of stuff, and then I think the Dubai 30-30 just gives an extra one throughout the year as well. And it's always great to see, the last 3 or 4 years, how active people get in that time. So this is something that I've been, out in Dubai for 8 years now. So I've been part of this from the beginning of it. And when the Gulf Youth Sports started and they were looking for kind of opportunities to, get involved and increase participation, obviously what we offer in terms of the very base level of keeping people active is very relevant. And it was great to be able to offer that on like a bigger scheme, such as the GYS 30-30 for the students, but then also, as you can see from the people that are doing it, for the parents and the teachers as well. I think the initial idea was that, hey, if we can go and get the teachers involved, because a lot of teachers have the activity trackers, the heart rate monitors, Fitbits, Garmin's, Polars, that type of stuff. If we can get them involved, that's only going to have a knock-on effect. Perhaps that provides a little bit of healthy competition with some of the students, and then adding the parents in there has been great. The chat, what GYS is doing with the 30-30, and just having that initiative of, because you guys do so much in terms of like specific sport, and being able to include everybody and make it a little bit more inclusive, like, the family, the Stans family, having the whole family, chipping in and getting away the calories, like, you are motivated by the people around you. So even if one person in your family kind of embraced the challenge to begin with, you don't know what knock-on effect that is going to have for other people around you. So I think it's a great initiative, and I think it's worked really well. Yeah, so our Movement Wins tracker is quite unique, really, in terms of we're recording purposeful exercise. And that can kind of be like a bit of a gray area, because when you get into like the levels of detail of like high intensity interval training and strength training and going for a long walk, like, what does that actually mean? If someone goes for a run versus someone going for a walk, like, what's the difference? But on the outside of it, we're not really worried. Like, the whole premise behind Movement Wins, as the name suggests, is that like, something is better than nothing. We want you to go and do something. But if you have the motivation to go for and do a 10K run, perfect, you have the time for that. But if you haven't, and you've only literally got 20 minutes of the day, can we motivate you with that accountability of the tracker to at least go and do something? So it kind of takes it from this premise of, if someone maybe can't make it to their regular gym session because, get kept at work late, or children are sick, when they get home, rather than going, well, I've missed that workout and it's just non-existent, they go, well, actually, do you know what? I still want to work away against my target. I still want to, burn some calories. Can I go and do something? So that's where the tracker kind of came from. And like I said, it's based on purposeful exercise. So we're not reading too much into it, but then with anything, there's always that friendly bit of competition in there. So with the leaderboards, the whole point behind that is they were gamifying it. So if someone is motivated by some friendly competition, they can go in and they can see, the duration of someone else's session, how many calories they've burned. And it just gives that extra bit of motivation there. I think it's very unique for someone to just love exercise and go out there and do it. Listen, I'm a health and fitness professional. I do it for a living. I love training. But there's times in my week where I'm just like, oh man, I don't know if I want to go out and do a session. But me, myself, I'm in the tracker as well. So that acts as a bit of accountability for me. So I know that it works, and my partner's in there as well. And I've got my wife in there, my mum, my dad, so I know that it works, because it's kind of like, that feeling of, if you've got guests coming around to your house, you're going to make, if your house is a little bit messy, you're going to make sure that the house is tidy. So it's kind of that psychology in an exercise premise, in terms of, you don't want people to know that you haven't been working out. So this is kind of like ultimate accountability, I would say. Yeah, so one of the things that we haven't done with the GYS, just because of obviously the scale of it, is we haven't set individual targets. So we've very much kept the competition, the gamification in there. We've gone, hey, go and do as much exercise as you can. But I guess from us, what we do for people, what individuals working with us, they'll go through an assessment, and we'll set them a calorie target for the week based on current fitness level, what their goals are, general lifestyle. And I think the most important one that people overlook is how much time they have to exercise, because some people have 1 hour a week they can exercise. Some people have 5 or 6 hours a week they can exercise. So based on the information that we get there and what we know, we set them a calorie target for the week, and that calorie target is agreed. So we'll say, is that something that you can do? And they go, yeah, I should be able to hit that easily. So then when it gets towards the end of the week and they maybe haven't hit their target, it's an easier conversation to have, because it's not a case of, I just didn't have time or this, that, or the other. We've already kind of brought that into account. But I think with the targets, it's not, we're not trying to shame people into exercise. I think that's really important to note. We understand that like things get in the way, busy lifestyles, especially here in Dubai, things do come up and you're not always going to be able to hit your target. But that's the way that we set that target. We bring that into play. And we won't call you out every week, but if a month's gone by and we've seen that you haven't recorded any exercise, we might just give you a friendly message and say, hey, is everything okay? Yeah, so Movement Win started 2.5 years ago. I've worked previously, like I said, in Dubai as a personal trainer in a couple of the big chain gyms, and as a CrossFit coach and a manager of a CrossFit gym as well after that. And I've spent years seeing people come in, come out of gyms, people see results, people not see results they wanted. So I've got like quite a big background in that area. And it was just fascinating. One of the things, no matter what gym you're going to, what sport you're doing, what your hobbies and interests are, the people that are successful are the ones that are consistent, like in any realm. And that can go into nutrition, that can go into exercise. So it was fascinating to try and find out, why are some people consistent and why are others not so consistent? What can we take from that? And that led me down a track of, I actually used to run a group fitness class at 5 o'clock in the morning with some individuals. And these were people, it was called the weight loss workshop back in the day. And these were people who were targeting specifically losing weight, like, morbidly obese. They needed to lose weight, come down at 5 in the morning because there's no excuses, let's do a training session. And like any great training program, motivation of an individual is always going to waver, no matter who it is. Like once the initial excitement of signing up for a program goes away after a couple of weeks, there will be times where, and then that's when the excuses start to come in. Hey, Joff, I can't make it. I can't do that, which is fine. Again, like I know things get in the way. But then I was just like, if this person is choosing to miss the workout because maybe there's nothing wrong and they just don't want to do it, because who wants to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work out? I would say to them, that's fine, but there's repercussions of you missing that workout, because I need you to make up that session at another point. And then it was because I was using heart rate monitors myself. I was like, how do I know if they've worked out? Because I could set them a workout to do at home and I wouldn't know. They could say, yes, I did the workout. And there's, proof pictures and things like that. But there's no kind of like definite, yes, I did it. And I thought, do you know what? A heart rate monitor will do that. And with the heart rate technology that's around at the moment, I can click on a screen and go, I can see their heart rate going up and down, the duration, the calories that they burn. They did the session. And then from that came the excitement of setting a target. And I think the time that I realized that there was something there was that there was one of the ladies that was on the program. She was religious, hitting her target. She was great at it. She was really motivated, really consistent. And there was a time where she was 300 calories off her target that she needed to hit. And it was a Saturday evening, and I was thinking, well, she's not going to hit her target because no one works out on a Saturday evening in Dubai. It's like dead time. It's like, no, I can't do that. And then it was about 11 o'clock at night. I got a WhatsApp message from her, and it was like, hey, coach, here's my workout. So she did her workout at 10 o'clock at night, 300 calories. It's about, 30 to 40 minutes worth of work. She's gone down to her apartment gym. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I've not had to ring her up and force her to go to the gym and guilt her into not training. She's took it upon herself to hit her target. And that's when I thought, do you know what? There's something in that. If she's motivated to go and do that, then I'm sure other people will be as well. So there was definitely the initial excitement of getting back into the gym and being in that environment again. I did find that a lot of the members on our program, even over the lockdown period, they were still, I would say exercise and intensity actually went up through home workouts, which is actually quite amazing. Yeah. But one of the things that happened was, one of the main barriers to exercise is time. People don't have time. Whereas we flipped it on its head and we went, you've got all the time in the world now. But then what they didn't have, which they normally have, is access to gyms, equipment, motivation of a coach. So completely flipped it on its head. And it was definitely a success to begin with. But then you could sense after, 6-7 weeks, people just wanted to be back in those environments. There's motivation from going to a gym and sweating and building and being part of a community with your friends and a coach and that type of stuff. So I think people have embraced it, and people seem to be keeping it going as well. Maybe there's a health factor as well into it. So this is, the idea that I was telling you where it all came from, setting targets and recording people's calories. That was all done through me manually, through spreadsheets, like just good old fashioned punching in numbers and spitting out formulas. So I've been doing this for, around 4 years now. And then a partner came on board and we kind of like started looking at other ideas. And obviously, because you can automate everything now, it's quite easy to plug into some of the major heart rate monitors, Garmin, Polar, and Fitbit in particular, and pull the data from them directly. So it's just made that transition a little bit more smoother from our side. But then what that's allowed us to do is open it up to the user as well. So they can actually go in and they have a visual of how close are they to hitting their target. So they have like a home screen where they can say, you're 50% of your target for the week. Here's how much training you've done. Here's how much you got left, the duration, the intensity. And then we, like I said, with the gamification, we add the leaderboards in there as well. So you can actually, people, as much as people might not like to admit it, people like to categorize themselves. And they like to know if someone in their age category who also has 2 kids, how much exercise are they doing? Oh, what are they doing? I want to know. So we're just kind of playing off that idea, again, without trying to shame people into exercise too much. Yeah, so I've had a podcast now for about 18 months and it's a weekly show. And, I just get guests on, mainly people from the health and fitness industry, to come on and talk about their specialist fields. Like, I love the process of doing a podcast because I listen to a lot of podcasts myself. So when I'm out exercising or when I'm driving, I'm generally listening to podcasts. And for me, like, a lot of information goes in, more than if I was to sit down and read a book. So I started my own one and I love just getting guests on because it's a time for me to actually learn from them as well. And I'm like, I might as well share the knowledge and put it on the podcast. So we touch on all different topics. I try and keep it really kind of real and, attack things that people really want to understand. Trying to get people out of the mindset of quick fixes and fad diets and just breaking things down. Never, totally shaming, exercise protocols or anything like that, but just getting the understanding around it and thinking critically about it, the pros and cons and that type of stuff.